Hello everybody and welcome to this episode of the One Door Workshop. Today, we're going to play around with making a clock. We have made a couple of these recently and they've turned out pretty nice. We've experimented with a few different finishes. One we did with paint, and then we carved the clock mechanism. Not the clock mechanism. We carved the detail into the clock face, but it was out of two boards that we'd put together, two pieces of pine that we'd put together and glued. And it had kind of an odd seam that was not in the middle. So while I think it came out really cool, and I'll try and post a picture of that for you to see, didn't have the total look that I wanted, and trying to put those two boards together and make sure that they were going to stay together during the CNC process was not always a fun prospect. So my wife actually found these rounds at our local Home Depot. They're about 17.5 inches in diameter. They are very thick, as you can see. They're close to an inch, maybe an inch and a quarter total. But having them pre-made and glued and all of that stuff is a super cool prospect. One thing I like about these is you can pretty much finish them in any way. So the other one of these that we did, we actually painted it gray, or kind of a blue-gray color. We whitewashed over top of that. Then we did the carve, and then we whitewashed on top of the carve so that the numbers and the detail in the middle were actually colored white with just a slight graying. And then I think my wife went and sanded down some of that too, so you get a little bit of the wood. Kind of a weathered beach effect is what she was looking for. I'll try and put another picture of that in as well. But to get started, what we want to do is we have to find out where center is, because everything on a round surface, as far as the CNC machine carving is concerned, has to be done on the center. There's no edge or corner for me to set this up at. So if I want to make sure my design is going to be proper, I have to make sure it's in the center. And that's where we're going to use this tool right here to be able to do that. This is called the Center Finder. Very cool tool. Peter Brown from Shop Time actually turned me on to this when I was visiting his shop one time. And it's super awesome. There's two different ways to find center. I'm going to be using this side right here, which is the more square side. Super simple. All we do is pop this on the top here. We draw a very gentle line so that we know where it is there. We kind of come around here to the 3 o'clock position to the best of our ability. We draw another light line here, and then I like to split the difference as well. Try and find maybe the 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock position, somewhere in that area. Draw a third line. So making sure my straight edge is lined up. I do a line. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is actually I want to make sure that I know where that hole is, because we actually have to flip this over and carve on the back side in order for the clock mechanism to come through the hole in the center. So I'm going to do a small hole. That way that hole stays consistent no matter what. That gives me an opportunity to line up the front and the back for both different carvings that I need to do. So this is what we are going to be carving, this tree shape with the clock. The tree shape in the middle, it's just a design that I found online that was available for free, and they're okay with us using it to sell a product with it on there. You want to be careful with whatever you carve, that you make sure that there's no royalties attached to it. You don't want to get stung with either royalty or copyright, anything along those lines. So just take your time, do your diligence, or buy a design on Etsy that you like if you're like me and kind of unable to really be creative and come up with your own. Buy a design, make sure it's okay for commercial use. You should be all set and ready to go. This is what we are going to carve today. All right, so we are just gonna hit this with some 220 and kind of clean up some of these lines on the outside. And then we'll have to go in and see if we need to clean any of the lines on the inside. It's possible we might have to do a little bit of detail sand work on the inside there, so. So I'm not looking for perfectly smooth. I just want to make sure that all the little burrs and things that would stick up from the CNC machine are all knocked down. That's ultimately what I'm looking for here. And then we can go in with a little bit of a hand detail sander and kind of clean some of these inside bits up a little bit, scrape these out and such. So I may show a little bit of that work. It's kind of boring, so we may just come back to it once it is all said and done and ready to apply some finish. Okay, so the carve is done, the finish is on, and or the stain, I should say, and then we've got about 4 coats of spray-on finish. We decided to go for a satin look. That way you don't have a whole big, gloss if you've got any bright lights or if it sits near a window with the sun. You don't have to worry about glare too much. So the last couple of things that we need to do are to drill out the center hole big enough for the clock post to go through for the hands, and then put in the clock mechanism. So that's what we're gonna work on right now. I'm gonna drill from the back side. Because of the way the carve sits here, I don't feel like I can get my drill bit in very well, but I'm gonna make sure that I go super slow when I'm getting to the front so I don't have a lot of tear out on the front side. That would definitely not make me a very happy camper. So we did get a little bit of tear out. It's not terrible. I kind of had a feeling, just because of the way the carve sits, it's going to be a difficult spot. So probably throw a little bit of finish in there and clean that up. But here's what we're using for our clock mechanism. We bought this off of Amazon, and it comes with all the parts you need, runs about 10 bucks. We opted to go with the white hands. We feel like that'll be a good contrast against the dark color of the clock. And this just runs off of one AA battery, which is super simple. They sell these in all different kinds of things. You can get them so that they chime. This is just one of the simple ones. It doesn't chime at all. Simply just puts the hands on and keeps time. And then we've got a nice long shank here. That way we can go through the thicker wood without having to cut super deep into the back in order to fit the whole mechanism. So here we go. All of these come with a plastic on them. You can also buy them with a second hand. We decided not to do that. These are sized appropriately, so you want the hour hand to go on first, and you want to push it on the larger size shaft. And then you want the minute hand to go on next, and you want it to be in the same line as the hour hand. And you just want to be careful when you push it on. Make sure you're pushing around the big round portion right here. That gives you enough room. These are very thin, and you really don't want it to bend the hand. That will cause problems. And then there's this little cap here that will go in place of the second hand. You just push it on. Pops into place. And there we have it. All right, I'm gonna get a battery and we're gonna set the time. All right, so we're going to throw a battery in the back. And we are going to set the time. And there you have it. Finished clock. Turned out pretty nice. All right, thanks for watching this episode of the One Door Workshop. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, always feel free to ask in the comment section. And if you like it, give us a thumbs up and subscribe if you're up for it too. Thanks a lot. Have a good one.